What's the fastest way to have somebody click off your video? Not image quality, poor audio quality. Hello, I am Wanderer001 and this is my review of the Blue Yeti X microphone. This is my second Blue Yeti microphone. In fact, I started off with the Snowball microphone, and if you're looking for an upgrade from that or just upgrading your audio in general, that's why you're probably here. That's what you're looking to find out. I will admit I am not super audiophile and mic expert. There are plenty of other YouTube videos out there. I'm telling you from the perspective of an everyday user, because that's what I am. Even though I make videos, I don't really rely on my equipment as much as a lot of other people do. And I do know that Blue Yeti has some mixed feelings amongst people, being one, that it's a subsidiary of Logitech, and two, people feel that there are other options out there. And yes, I will admit, there are other options out there. However, those options tend to be a little more on the pricier side of things. I'm not looking to spend that kind of money just yet. The Blue Yeti X here is a 4-capsule array microphone. We'll get into that a little later after we do the walk around of the mic itself. The microphone portion of this is 7 inches in height from bottom to top. It does come with a stand, which might be a little difficult to see right here based on my filming angle, but there is a stand. The Stand Plus microphone is 11 inches tall. Now, I will say right now, bringing the microphone to its side, when you're talking to the microphone, you want to make sure that you are vocalizing to the front here. You will see a lot of YouTube videos of people using microphones that look similar to this, kind of pointing them at themselves. That's not how the Yeti X here works. I have it facing like this because that is the proper way for talking to it based on how I'm filming. However, I will say that the audio that you're hearing is not from the Blue Yeti X right now. It is from a different microphone. When I actually have audio coming from the Blue Yeti, I will let you know. For starters, this LED light indicator on the front is actually a way to adjust the gain right from the microphone itself. So if I lower this, you can see those LED lights lowering. I'm actually lowering the gain of the mic without having to be in a program. The green icon there means that it's on. However, a quick tap mutes the microphone. You no longer hear audio from it, and it's got a great visualization knowing that it is muted. I'm going to tap that again to turn the gain back on. Next, if you press and hold the center button, it changes. So now we've got a headphone icon right there, which is a little tricky to see, and then lights on the side. What that has done is changed it to adjust headphone volume output. You can have a pair of headphones plugged into the mic itself, and you can adjust the volume of that. Pressing and holding one more time, now we have the microphone icon and the headphone icon both lit up, kind of pink, a little hard to see in video. But what this is the blend mode. It adjusts the amount of computer audio versus microphone audio that can be heard in the headset. And you can adjust this left or right or have it balanced. And that's all done through the mic itself. And then a tap, long press again, brings you back to your metering. Notice, I have it plugged into a computer to power it, but that's all done through the microphone. So if you're really just getting a start and you're trying to upgrade your audio, this microphone leaps and bounds above what you're probably using right now. So we talked about the front knob and what it does and the lighting. Let's take a look at the rest of the microphone itself. The microphone is pretty much this matte black metal, and I like that. It's muted, it's subtle, it doesn't reflect. So if you do have this in a Twitch stream, it's not going to take away from you. I do notice that it has the accent point there, which you can see my lights over in the corner, as well as me hiding behind the camera. The grill over the actual microphone capsule itself, well built. Coming around, as we talked about before, we have an included stand. The stand itself is really substantial and heavy, and if we look at the bottom, it has a kind of rubberized felt so that it sits and doesn't move around. So if I put that there and try and push it around, yeah, I have to put a little force behind it. I like the fact that they include a stand. It's not adjustable like the Snowball was. However, you don't really need to adjust too much once you get this placed. You can take the microphone off of here by unscrewing both sides, and then you can mount it to something else. Speaking of mounting, we'll come to the underside here. You have a 3.5mm headphone jack for either monitoring the actual volume levels and noise that you get from the microphone, or you can actually listen to desktop audio through that. I actually really do appreciate this because my particular setup for my computer is mobile and my headphone jack is on the same side that my mouse is, so it doesn't leave me a lot of room to actually have that cable for my headphones. However, USB, which I do have on the other side of my computer, does allow me to hook up the microphone and then my headset to this, which is very helpful. On the right hand side here, you see a micro USB. Sadly, it is not USB-C. They are using slightly older standard, but it's more ubiquitous, so micro USB right here. And then this center hole right there, which you might be wondering, has a little rubber bit in there. What is this? Well, this is actually so that you can thread the microphone itself to a arm and not have to use it with the stand. It took me a while to figure out what that was because the microphone itself does not actually come with the threading for this, so you will need to have that either from the arm that you're going to use, or you're going to have to pick that up separately. And then what we have on our back, onto the dial itself, because these are going to be your different audio patterns, your modes. I like that there's a button that changes them. I dislike the placement of the button and its sensitivity, because I have found myself, when I move this, because I don't have a stationary setup for my computer, when I grab this, I tend to press the button. And if it's plugged in while I'm moving it, it changes the audio pattern. So right now, the audio pattern that I have it on is cardio. This is going to be good for if you're standing in front of the microphone and you just have your vocals coming from a singular direction. If we tap on this, it brings us over to our next mode, which is our bi-directional mode, meaning the audio in front and behind the microphone are going to be picked up. This is good if you're doing an interview and have one person sitting on one side of the microphone and somebody sitting on the other side of the microphone. Tapping it again brings us to our stereo mode, which will use the left and right to bring up a realistic sound from the room that a person might be in. So talking in the front and then directional sound. Next we have omnidirectional, which picks up sound around the mic equally from all directions. And then we come back to our cardio. Now the cardio mode is going to be the mode that most people are going to use this for, because they're going to be in front of the microphone talking to it. You may have noticed that those are all white icons. So that can be a little tricky to tell what's what. Likewise, coming back around to the front, that's blue, that's red, that's green, all staying there. We have our metering coloration, which may or may not be coming out great in the video, but let's say you don't like that. You want to change that. Maybe you want to actually use some fancy settings for your Blue mic. You don't want to just use it as a plug and play device. That is where the Blue Voice Broadcast Vocal Effects software comes in. Now you can either download that from the Blue Yeti website, or if you already use Logitech products like I do and have the Logitech G Hub, you can access those from there. So let's take a look at that. Here we have the Blue Yeti X microphone software. This is through the Logitech G Hub. However, the Yeti software itself is very similar. When you first start, you are prompted to select your gain input up to 100% and then tone it down based on your individual audio needs. Right here, we have a mic test. So this will allow you to record audio to use in other areas to sample. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually do that. And then just quickly over here, master output level is set for 100% when you first get it. So we're going to record our mic test. Mic test 1, 2, test 1, 2. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. So I have a 10-second audio clip here, which will allow me to, if I select test, Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. Mic test 1, 2, test 1, 2. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. All right, so hopefully you heard that. I turned on my desktop audio capture for OBS, but now I have an audio sample, which I can then move over right here to the left-hand panel. And the first tab we're on is actually the microphone. So here we have our polar pattern. Right now I am on cardio, but I can move it to stereo, omni, or bidirectional. Those are all the options that are available on the back of the microphone. Here we have our Blue Voice option. Selecting this will then bring up extra controls. And there's a lot of things that you can do. And I can now hear the difference in my headphones as to how my voice sounded without the blue enabled voice options. And again, we have our mic test. Mic test 1, 2, test 1, 2. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. And right there, just by enabling the Blue Voice, you heard that there was a definite change in the quality and sound of my mic. And from here, we can change our input gain, we can do equalizers, we can do clean signal. Like there's a lot of options.
Mic test 1 2, test 1 2. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers.
And if you wanted to, you can really get in here and be super audio nerd. However, I'm not that kind of guy. I prefer the presets, but also just a plug and play device. Coming over, I'm going to show you effects. So here we have our effects. You have, again, our mic test right here. We have our pitch, our reverb, our ring module. But coming over here, we now have effects. So right now, the effects are off, but I can turn on Alien, and we'll do a quick
test 1 2, test 1 2. Sally sells seashells.
So that's an Alien. You've got Crazy Voice.
By the seashore. Peter Piper picked a
DJ Robot.
Pack of pickled peppers. Mic test.
There are a lot of different options that you can go through. I'm not going to go through them all, but just know you don't need a separate audio program to do this with the Blue Yeti. You can do all of this with the included software. And we're going to pop down to do split personality because that sounds interesting.
1 2, test 1 2. Sally sells
Seashells by the seashore. Peter Piper picked a
Pack of pickled peppers. Mic test 1 2, test 1 2.
Sally sells seashells by the
Seashore. Peter Piper picked a pack of.
So there you go. You've got an idea of some of the options that you can do for effects. Here we have NVIDIA, and then NVIDIA has their own broadcast presets. However, you'll notice I cannot turn that on, even though I do have NVIDIA installed here. It may just be that my GPU cannot handle it because it's an older computer at this point. But if we come back to our Blue Voice, just like you could with the effects, you've got different type of broadcaster effects that you can do. You can create your own. You also have the ability to browse for more effects and download them to the Blue Yeti software. But we're going to quickly pop through a couple of these. And remember, these are presets that are going to change all of your options here.
Mic test 1 2, test 1 2. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. Mic test 1 2, test 1 2. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. Mic test 1 2, test 1 2. Sally sells seashells by the seashore.
And right there, again, you've got several different options that you can choose from. We're going to move on to our sampler area, which is used to create custom macros or assign directly to keys. These are sound effects. Hypothetically, if I come here and we find something like this, you have those built in as well. You can create your own and you can import. So that's kind of nice. Again, it's built to be an all-in-one software area. Next, we have our lighting. This is pretty cool. All the lighting features that you saw on the Blue Yeti itself can be adjusted. So here we have our live. We can select this, and then we have sliders to change the live coloration of the wheel. Likewise with mute. If we don't like the red that we had for the mute, we can adjust it as we want. You also have the ability to do fixed effects or breathing. And what this will allow you to do is actually pick and choose colors. Let's say you're a Twitch streamer or a YouTube person who does YouTube Live. You can have your blue microphone, if it's visible in your shots, mirror what you have going with your actual setup, which is kind of cool. I appreciate that that's there. You've got mode. So here are the different modes on the front. So you can choose what color designation they are. I do like that because I kind of didn't really like the coloration. I wanted a little more difference. So here I can change those just by simply clicking and then adjusting via these sliders. And then again, you have fixed breathing and then fixed breathing for our options here. Metering, just like before, you can change the metering to start off, hey, this is okay, this is too much, this is way too much, which I do like. And again, you can change those up if you want. And here we have our pattern. So they're all white. And to me, I kind of wanted a little differentiation. The icons can be a little hard to see just because they're all white. So if I wanted to, I can change these all to different colors so that I know when I'm on stereo, omni, cardio, or bidirectional, which is a great feature to have for a plug and play microphone. Last but not least, we have our 3.5 millimeter output. And here is our headphone output range, direction,
And we can enable advanced EQ if you want to. Again, not super audiophile, so not going to play with that. But the fact that it's there is great for you if you want to make changes to your Blue microphone. And then we come back to the front here. And that concludes the application portion for the Blue Yeti X.
As you saw, if you are not just looking for a plug-and-play option, there's lots of different effects that you can use using the software for the Yeti X here. Now, you heard some sound tests. I'm going to roll in some actual sound tests for the microphone to give you an idea of how it sounds. Keep in mind, again, not a super professional setup, so don't have sound dampening in the room that I was testing this with, just to give you an idea of what an actual everyday user might sound like using the microphone.
Cardio test, vocals from the front. Test 1, test 2, test 3.
Cardio test, vocals from the back. Test 1, test 2, test 3.
Bidirectional test, front of microphone. Test 1, test 2, test 3.
Bidirectional test from the back. Test 1, test 2, test 3.
Omnidirectional test from the front. Test 1, test 2, test 3. Stereo mode from the front. Test 1, test 2, test 3. This will be audio recording test from the Blue Yeti microphone. Cardio mode with the Asus ROG Claymore 2 keyboard with blue keycaps to see what the clicking sound sounds like when the mic is positioned in front of me while typing. Test 1, test 2, test 3. And test. This will be keyboard test with lower the gain on the microphone and typing in the background. Microphone is still in the same position it was before, so it's close to the mic, but not right on top of it. And keyboard test.
Hopefully that gave you an idea of what the sound test was like, giving you a better idea of what you can expect from something like this. For myself, I feel that this was a good step up from the Snowball that I used to have. The one issue that I have with something like this is it is a bit on the expensive side compared to, again, other options out there or even starter microphones. The one thing that I like about this is this microphone connects to your computer via USB. It does not use an XLR cable, which is when you start getting into a lot of those upper end, pricier microphone setups. So if you're looking to expand your microphone quality, but you're not yet ready to step up to that XLR cabling, the Blue Yeti X might be what you're looking for. I know it was for me. With that being said, I have been Wanderer 001. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the area below. And as always, thanks for watching.
If you found this video helpful, consider giving it a like, as that will help other people find the video as well. If you like what I'm doing here, you can always help fuel the next review by buying me a coffee, link in the description below. Last but not least, if you want to be notified when I upload a new video, you know what to do.